Alright guys, so today I'm just going to talk about the highlights of issue number 11 in Power Rangers comic, Boom Studios. Very, very excited and so thankful that I subscribed to this series. Obviously, you guys know that I'm a huge Super Sentai Power Rangers fanatic. Aside from just the cosplay, I love the comics, so I'm super excited to be able to start doing kind of a review on the comics that I've been reading from Boom Studios, which have all been phenomenal. I loved Volume 1, and I've been getting, the issues that have been, releasing from month to month. So very, very excited to just talk about the highlights from what I've enjoyed so far. So I'm not going to go too early into this kind of second series leading up to Volume 2, but I'm just going to start with issue number 11, since that's one of the most recent ones as far as the Power Ranger comic. So diving into it, we're going to kind of go to issue number 9, just the end of that, as we were introduced to the Black Dragon. The Power Rangers were fighting the Black Dragon in this issue, and in the end, Tommy definitely takes a hit from the Black Dragon, is almost nearly destroyed by the Black Dragon, but definitely holds his own. Him and Jason kind of fight him off when they're in space and whatnot. And in issue number 9 is where we get that cool image of the Power Rangers, who are like, they're all in green, and that's because Tommy, the Power Rangers, they weren't able to morph. They weren't able to tap into the morphing grid. And if you read in further issues, you'll realize what happened because of that. But Tommy, sacrifices, his own powers, and it's like, well, what's one Power Ranger without the rest? And so he allows the rest of the 5 to morph, by using his, power coin. And so they all morph, and then they're all green, which looks really awesome. It looked really cool, man. It was just awesome to kind of see that different look and take for the Rangers. So let me know what you guys thought about that issue. But anyway, going further into that, they're fighting off the Black Dragon, and Tommy and Billy, they end up getting inside of the Black Dragon near the end of the battle. The Black Dragon has this mechanism where he can shrink and enlarge himself at his own will, and so the Black Dragon started shrinking while Billy and Tommy were inside of the Black Dragon. And so they started freaking out, and they couldn't figure out how to get out. And so the Rangers, they knew that Billy and Tommy were inside of the Black Dragon, and so immediately with their Zords, they rip the Black Dragon apart. And during this whole action, Billy and Tommy, they end up being teleported somewhere else outside of their world. And so now, Billy and Tommy, they're teleported to this future or new dimension, and the whole scenic view of this particular comic, it definitely has that darker and grittier and just kind of apocalyptic feel to it. We see a statue of Queen Rita and the Green Ranger, where it seems as if these two definitely dominate this world right off the bat. That's kind of the feeling that you get as we're introduced into this whatever Angel Grove it is. And so Tommy and Billy, in this issue, they definitely converse with each other about, we definitely know we're not in our Angel Grove. They're trying to figure out where and what time frame they teleported in. And so as they're walking about in this Angel Grove, they run into the Black Ranger. Well, one of the Black Rangers. There's this army that exists in this world that's called the Mastodon Sentry, and these guys just look awesome right off the bat. I mean, we've seen pictures a little early on before this issue was released, but the Mastodon Sentry, they are this army that exists in this apocalyptic Angel Grove, and they're kind of like, in my opinion, they seem like stormtroopers. They have that feel to them, which is really cool for Power Rangers, to kind of have that different take in this particular world or dimension. And so that's what the Mastodon Sentry kind of seems like to me is, they're these soldiers, who are working under, the leadership of Queen Rita and most of all the Lord Drakkon, who we'll talk a little bit about here soon as well. Now, one of the Mastodon Sentry soldiers, they see that Tommy has the dragon dagger, and he questions him and he asks, where did he get that? And, they try to arrest them on the spot, because, obviously it seems like there's something special, about, the dragon dagger. And, we see in this issue too, there is like this monument or kind of like, what do you call it? There's a building where it has Lord Drakkon's symbol on there, which looks very similar to the dragon coin, but obviously it's mixed in with the Tiger Sword as well, that fusion. And so, the dragon dagger definitely has it's very noticeable, to say the least, in this world, and that draws attention. And so Billy and Tommy, they book it, they run, and they're getting chased now by the Mastodon Sentry. So we see more of the soldiers who come out, and they're kind of hunting Billy and Tommy down because they have something that seems to be very special, and the Mastodon Sentry knows about that, and so they notify Lord Drakkon about these two. And so continuing on, Billy and Tommy, they try to run off into their school, which is now like a Finster correctional facility. So they're like, okay, we forget this is not our Angel Grove, this is something different. And then Tommy, he starts hearing this voice calling him. There's this big hole in the ground. And before I continue, first of all, they're trying to go to their school, and then a little further down, they start to see these Zords. But the Zords that they see, were the Zords that were in season 3 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So we see these Zords, and they are broken, they are messed up, rusted, beat down. We see, broken down command center. Everything is just degraded, right? And so we see all of that in this picture. And, it definitely seems like some time has passed. Things, have been destroyed. The Zords seem to be no more. And so in this moment, Tommy hears this voice calling him underground, and it's calling him by name. And so Tommy, is conversing with it, and he jumps down there to try to go figure it out. And Billy's like, dude, you should probably stay up here. I don't know if that's a good idea, going down into this dark, spooky hole, following a voice. But, Tommy's fearless. So he just jumps down there and follows the voice. And the voice, it just keeps calling out to him, and, it's trying to get him to get to the area where the voice is. And so the voice is behind this door, which seems to be the entrance to where this, kind of old command center used to be. And so Tommy has a little bit of an issue trying to get it open, but eventually he gets the door open. And to his surprise, he sees this talking sword, which we know as Saba. Now, this brings up a lot of cool thoughts and twists. So I already know with Boom Studios, they're definitely, they're appeasing to the fans. They're giving us what we want for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It is awesome. But also, they're doing something fresh. They're also doing something new. So I say that because in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series, we know that Zordon and Alpha created the White Ranger. And Billy, was in that episode, White Light, where he was kind of spying on them and figuring out, hey, they're creating this other Power Ranger. And they were trying to figure out who this White Ranger would be. In this issue, Tommy finds Saba, which we know is definitely different, obviously, from the show. And so Tommy, he gets Saba, and that raises questions for me as to how the White Ranger will be introduced, more so in this particular comic. And Tommy has kind of already lost his Green Ranger powers somewhat, from the previous issue. So in in issue number 12, we see right on that cover too. I'm kind of jumping all over the place, forgive me for that, but nonetheless, my point is we see that the White Ranger is getting introduced, and definitely in a different way that we are familiar with, based off of the TV series. So this is definitely a different take, and it's fun and it's fresh, and I'm excited to see what they do with that nonetheless. So we have that happening, and then Billy calls out to Tommy. Tommy now has Saba, and Saba is speaking to Tommy and saying, hey, you guys should probably head a different way. He's trying to give them directions because he knows that the Mastodon Sentry and something worse is coming for them now that they found Saba. And so, Tommy, he gets up out of the hole in the ground, meets up with Billy, and, the Mastodon Sentry, they have them all surrounded. It's a pretty epic scene. And so, Mastodon Sentry, they're all there. They got their guns out, man. These guys, seriously, they look like Power Rangers stormtroopers. It looks so freaking awesome. And then Lord Drakkon, he steps, down out of the ship. It's so cool. Like, they come flying in these big ships, and Lord Drakkon comes out, and he, right off the bat, knows Tommy Oliver and Billy Cranston. He calls them by name, and he congratulates them for being, in this world. He calls it a better world and his world. And he tells them both, that they won't be there. Their time will only be, short in this world. Kind of intimidating them, and definitely making a threat to both Billy and Tommy. And Tommy is he speaks out to him and is like, hey, if you think we're just gonna bow down to you, you've got the wrong guys. And Lord Drakkon, he tells him, well, I know exactly who you are. And then in that moment, he takes off his helmet and reveals that he himself is Tommy Oliver as well. And he looks kind of definitely has that evil tone to him. If any of you guys have seen the Doctor Strange movie, obviously with Benedict Cumberbatch, the villain Caecilius, how his face looks all weird and just he has that evil tone to him. It kind of seems like the same thing, similar for me as when I looked at the picture when I was reading the issue with Tommy, Lord Drakkon. In this version, he kind of has that tone to him, after he took off his helmet. That's immediately what I was thinking of. And so now, and that was pretty obvious. I mean, we know based off of the look already of, Lord Drakkon's outfit, we can tell that there's somewhere down the road, some fusion happened between the Green Ranger and White Ranger. We can definitely assess that. I think early on, there was even some speculation, if Lord Zed had anything, to do with the identity of Lord Drakkon. A lot of people were kind of looking at the visor based off of costume stuff, because the visor was red, and kind of just the movements, of the helmet, could definitely raise some questions. But nonetheless, it is official that it is Tommy Oliver, which is, pretty, obvious, given that, Tommy is the only one who's kind of been the one to take on those particular Ranger powers, which would make sense. And so, yes, that is kind of the end of issue number 11. And now, we wait for issue number 12, which I'm so excited for. Can't wait to read that issue. Just got my notification not too long ago that it'll be coming in my Comixology app. So very excited for that. So, guys, so much that we talked about today just with alone in this particular issue. There's so many cool elements. There's so many key points. And sorry if I jumped around a lot. This is my first time doing kind of a serious review on the Power Ranger comics, but I want to keep this up. I want to continue to do this. I think it's very fun. I get these issues all the time, and I love just talking about the highlights and the key points that I've looked over and read, and to share that with you guys. I thought about sharing more bits and pieces of the comic, but it just doesn't do it justice. You got to read it definitely for yourself. So I love being able to just kind of talk with you guys about the highlights and key points that stuck out to me in each issue. And if you guys like that, let me know. Comment on this video, make sure you like it, and subscribe to my channel. That way you get all the updated information on these comics, and content that I release, which I'll be trying to do that every Saturday morning, so you guys will have new content. So let me know, guys, what did you think of issue number 11, and kind of the end of issue number 9, and that whole obviously issue itself, the Black Dragon, and now the Power Rangers, well, Billy and Tommy are in this, is it a future or a different dimension? We don't quite know yet. But let me know what you guys think of this issue and where Boom Studios is taking us with this new fresh take, which I think is ultimately awesome. I think it is just cool to have something that is so familiar, that is just so fun to read, but definitely has that edge and freshness that I think the brand definitely needs, and it's just fun and awesome to read. So let me know you guys' thoughts about the Power Ranger comics, and what is your excitement about issue number 12, and any other little highlights and key things that I brought up today. If you guys have any questions about that, feel free to message me and comment on this video, and I will be sure to answer your questions as best as I can. So hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, peace.